Let's stop lying to ourselves. In Pakistan, the army runs the show. Not the prime minister, not the parliament, just one power, the military. See, in most countries, the army takes orders from the government. But in Pakistan, it's the other way around. The army gives the orders, the politicians just follow or they disappear. And behind the army is its brain, the ISI, Pakistan Spy Agency. But don't think of the ISI like a regular intelligence service. It's more like the army's secret arm. Almost every ISI chief is an army general. They don't just collect information, they control everything in the dark. Together, the army and ISI run the country like a company, a private business, with total control over the media, foreign policy, the courts, elections, even who gets to live or die in politics. But there's a third part of this beast, the militants, terror groups, extremist outfits, call them whatever you want. They're not out of control. They're tools. The Army and ISI have built and used these groups for years. Groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Taliban. They train them, fund them, protect them. Why? So they can fight wars without sending soldiers. 'Cause terror in India keep Afghanistan unstable, spread fear without ever admitting it. You might have heard the phrase, bleed India with 1,000 cuts. That wasn't a slogan, that was a plan, a military strategy. Use terror to hurt India slowly, deny everything, pretend to be the victim. And when the world asks questions, the army says, we're fighting terrorism too, it's a game. And they've played it for decades. Let's talk about the politicians. Every leader in Pakistan, from Liaquat Ali Khan to Imran Khan, has learned the same lesson. You stay in power only as long as the army lets you. The moment you act on your own, you're gone. Maybe arrested, maybe exiled, maybe even killed. Look at what happened to Zulfikar Ali Bhutto hanged, Benazir Bhutto assassinated, Nawaz Sharif removed again and again, Imran Khan brought in, then thrown out. It's the same pattern every time. Elections controlled, media censored, judges pressured, dissent silenced. The public is shown a stage, but behind the curtain, the army and ISI pull every string. And yet, the world keeps sending Pakistan money. Why? Because Pakistan is too dangerous to ignore. It has nuclear weapons. It borders India, China, Iran, and Afghanistan. If it falls apart, the shockwaves would hit everyone, the US, the Gulf, even China. So instead of stopping the beast, the world keeps feeding it. Now let's look across the border, at India. If Pakistan has the ISI, India has RAW, the Research and Analysis Wing. It's India's spy agency. And yes, it's at war with ISI, not with tanks, but with secrets. But RAW is different. It works quietly. It doesn't raise flags. It doesn't use loud terror groups. It works in silence, through intelligence, cyber spying, and secret missions. That doesn't mean RAW is innocent. No one in this game is. Back in 1971, yes, RAW helped the Mukti Bahini in East Pakistan. But let's not confuse that with what Pakistan's ISI does today. RAW backed a liberation movement fighting against genocide for people seeking freedom. ISI, on the other hand, builds jihadist militias, sends them across borders, arms them in the dark, and pretends to have nothing to do with the blood they spill. But here's the difference. RAW keeps it hidden. ISI uses militants like actors on a stage. Let's talk about one of ISI's biggest weapons. Lashkar-e-Taiba wasn't a secret group hiding in caves. It was right out in the open. They had training camps near Lahore. They ran schools and charities as cover. Their leader, Hafiz Saeed, gave speeches on jihad like he was a celebrity. He even had police escorts, while being one of the world's most wanted terrorists. And their most famous attack? 26/11, Mumbai. 10 men, trained by Lashkar-e-Taiba, sent from Pakistan. They landed by boat. They attacked hotels, train stations, cafes. 3 days of blood. Over 175 people killed, Indians, Americans, Israelis. Show on live TV thanks to carelessness of Indian media. The whole world watched. Guess what Indian media has still not learned? And here's the scary part. The 26/11 attack wasn't some random act. It was planned in Pakistan, controlled from Karachi, with handlers giving live instructions over phone calls. Terror. The only reason we know the full story? One attacker survived, Ajmal Kasab. He talked, he named names, he told the truth. India had proof, the world had evidence. And what did Pakistan do? Nothing. Hafiz Saeed stayed free. ISI denied everything. Lashkar-e-Taiba changed names and carried on. RAW didn't launch missiles, it didn't start a war. Instead, it worked behind the scenes, pressured the world to blacklist Pakistan, exposed ISI's role, pushed groups like into the spotlight, choked their funding using the Financial Action Task Force, a global anti-terror watchdog. But let's be honest, Lashkar-e-Taiba still exists. Maybe under another name, maybe deeper underground, but it's still there, waiting. Because for Pakistan's Army and ISI, these groups are not just weapons. They're investments. They're chess pieces, to be used whenever needed, then hidden when the heat gets too high. Most people think of terror as something random. A bomb goes off, a gunman opens fire, a group claims responsibility. But in Pakistan, terror has a system, a structure, a factory, and the factory is run by the ISI with full support from the Pakistan Army. Let's break it down. Step 1. Recruitment and radicalization. The ISI finds young, poor, angry men, often from madrasas, religious schools. Many of these schools are not just religious, they are brainwashing centers run by extremist groups. The ISI and Army allow them to operate freely. Some are even funded through charity fronts, fake NGOs that collect donations in the name of orphans, flood victims, or education. That money goes straight into terror camps. Step 2. These aren't small hideouts. These are full-blown training centers. Places like Muradkay near Lahore, home to Lashkar-e-Taiba, or Balakot in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Here, recruits are trained in weapons, bomb-making, infiltration, GPS navigation, psychological conditioning. Trainers, often retired military officers or men with battlefield experience in Kashmir and Afghanistan. Step 3. Planning and targeting. ISI handlers give exact missions, who to hit, when, and how. They pick targets in India, Kashmir, Mumbai, Delhi, and Afghanistan to control Kabul politics, sometimes even in Pakistan when they want to create fear or blame someone else. Some attacks are made to look like someone else did it. Classic false flag operations. Step 4. Real-time control. During attacks like 26/11 Mumbai, handlers were literally on live phone calls, guiding the attackers, telling them what to do next, even which rooms to hit. The ISI doesn't just plan, they micromanage the terror. Step 5. Protection and denial. After the attack, the killers are either killed, hidden, or disowned completely. Meanwhile, the leaders, like Hafiz Saeed or Masood Azhar, are given shelter, police security, and media airtime. The government says, we have no evidence. The army says, they're not with us. And the ISI, they vanish into the dark. Here's a list of groups ISI has backed. These aren't random terror groups. They are part of a state-supported network. Lashkar-e-Taiba, focus India, especially Kashmir. Responsible for 26/11 Mumbai Red Fort attack, Parliament attack. Covered under Charity Front, Jamawala. 2. Jaish-e-Mohammed. Focus suicide bombings in Kashmir, responsible for Pulwama attack, Pathunkhwa. Founder, Masood Azhar, protected by Pakistan for years. Haqqani Network. Focus Afghanistan, attacked U.S. troops, embassies. Direct links to ISI confirmed by CIA and Pentagon. 4. Taliban. Afghan Taliban TTP. Pakistan helped the Taliban before and after 9/11, gave them safe havens in Waziristan, Quetta, allowed them to regroup and take back Kabul in 2021. 5. Hizbul Mujahideen. Focus Kashmir insurgency, long seen as the ISI's local proxy inside the valley. How does ISI stay hidden? They don't leave paper trails. Money flows in cash, hawala, and charity shells. They use local names, same group, new label. When pressure comes, they ban a group on paper, but let them operate under a new name next month. And every time the world calls them out, they say, we're victims of terrorism too. It's a cycle. Create terror, deny it, ask for aid, repeat. In May 2025, the IMF gave Pakistan another bailout, another loan, another bandage, another emergency solution to the same problem, a country constantly on the edge and always asking for more. But this isn't about economics. It's about fear, because Pakistan isn't being paid to grow. It's being paid not to explode, and yet the world knows exactly what it's paying for. This is the same Pakistan that gave Osama bin Laden sanctuary for 6 years, walking distance from a military base. Created and commanded Lashkar-e-Taiba, responsible for the Mumbai attacks in 2008. Protected Hafiz Saeed even as the US put a $10 million bounty on his head? Backed Jaish-e-Mohammed, the suicide bomber factory that killed 40 Indian soldiers in Pulwama. Helped the Taliban regroup, hide, and ultimately return to power in Afghanistan. Uses groups like Hizbul Mujahideen, al-Badr, and the Resistance Front to keep Kashmir unstable, and shelters radical preachers, ISI-linked jihadis, and global fugitives under layers of denial. Pakistan has turned terror into foreign policy, and the ISI is the project manager. The ISI doesn't just support terror, it designs it. It recruits, trains, pays, protects, and sometimes even chooses the targets. This is a country where terror camps are built like military boot camps. Jihadis move across borders with cover from state vehicles. Charity groups are just fronts for fundraising. And when it's time for an attack, the phones light up in Rawalpindi. They don't just train terrorists, they guide them, sometimes in real time, just like they did in Mumbai 26/11, where handlers gave instructions to the attackers while watching news coverage on live TV. They've struck across India: Red Fort 2000, Parliament 2001, Mumbai 2008, Pathankote 2016, Pulwama 2019, Pahalgam 2025, and in between, dozens of smaller attacks, border infiltrations, IEDs in Kashmir, ambushes on soldiers, grenade blasts in markets. Each time, Pakistan says we're not involved. Each time, the world pretends to believe it. But they know, because this same country once witnessed the worst of it on their own soil, and still didn't change. Peshawar, December 16, 2014, the Army Public School Massacre. 7 Taliban gunmen entered a school in uniform. They lined up children and opened fire. Over 130 students, most under the age of 16, were murdered. Shot at point-blank range, some burned, some beaten, some begged for their mothers. The attackers were from the TTP, a group the Pakistan military had once used against others until it turned on them. For a few days, the country cried. They swore they'd never let it happen again, but nothing changed. The same military that couldn't protect its own children still controls the country, still protects other terror groups, still asks for money, and still gets it. Why does the world keep paying? Because Pakistan is a nuclear-armed time bomb. It borders India. Enemy and rival China, investor and influencer. Afghanistan, always on fire. Iran, volatile and suspicious. It has a fragile economy, an overpowered army, and no civilian control over the nukes. So when the generals say, if we collapse, the nukes go unsecured, the world listens. That's the blackmail. That's the leverage. No one wants Pakistani nukes in Taliban hands. China fully controlling Islamabad. Balak insurgents bombing Chinese pipelines. Another mass exodus of refugees flooding Europe or the Gulf. So what does the world do? They pay, they pretend, they play along. IMF gives loans, FATF gives extensions, the US gives weapons, China gives projects, the Gulf gives cash. And Pakistan gives them just enough drama to keep the illusion alive. Jail Hafiz Saeed for terror financing, not the Mumbai massacre. Ban Lashkar-e-Taiba, but let them operate under new names like Jamaat-ud-Dawa or the Resistance Front. Stage a few counter-terror raids right before UN meetings, put militants in protective custody, and release them after the cameras leave. It's all a show. The truth? The generals run the country like a cartel. Terror is their currency. Chaos is their asset. And every crisis is a fundraising opportunity. The money doesn't build hospitals. It builds villas. It buys land in Dubai. It fuels a military budget that's immune to recession, while people in Sindh and Balochistan drink from sewage. And the world, they know. They've always known. But they'd rather manage the beast than confront it. Because Pakistan doesn't threaten them with war. It threatens them with collapse. So the cycle continues. Terror, denial, bailout, repeat. Not because the system is broken, but because it works exactly as planned. What can actually be done about Pakistan? Let's ask the question no one wants to answer. What can actually be done about Pakistan? Because this isn't just a country with a terror problem. This is a country where terror is part of the structure, built into the blueprints, maintained by uniforms and silence. It's not rogue. It's not broken. It's intentional. The military doesn't just allow terrorism, it manages it. The ISI doesn't just protect extremists, it directs them. The state doesn't just look away, it profits from every bomb, every body, every border breach. So what now? 1. Stop pretending. Call the bluff. No more IMF bailouts for terror states in military boots. No more funding development while madrasas train child soldiers. No more applause for cosmetic crackdowns. No more believing the drama. Leverage must come with conditions, real ones. Dismantle the terror camps or get cut off. Arrest real operatives, not just their drivers and accountants. Hand over fugitives like Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar, or face global isolation. Open the books of the ISI, or open the floodgates of sanctions, because every loan without consequences becomes blood money. 2. Hit where it hurts. Freeze the fake charities. They're funding the next attack. Blacklist shell companies tied to ISI generals, expose military officers with properties in Dubai and London, block international travel for known handlers and funders. This isn't diplomacy, this is counter-terrorism. And the currency isn't trust, it's truth. 3. Support the people, not the puppets. Inside Pakistan are brave souls fighting alone. Journalists being silenced, students being surveilled, lawyers being jailed, activists disappearing into the night. They are not the problem, they are the only hope. Give them platforms, give them visibility, give them protection before the regime erases them completely. 4. Don't be fooled. Lashkar-e-Taiba changing names doesn't mean it's gone. A new prime minister doesn't mean a new Pakistan. A new crackdown doesn't mean the camps are closed. It's the same army, the same generals, the same beast with a different mask. This isn't about punishing a country. It's about confronting a system that profits from death and survives on denial. What Pakistan needs isn't sympathy. It isn't aid. It needs consequences. Until then, the world isn't dealing with a rogue nation. It's enabling a rogue military, armed with nukes, fueled by lies, and paid in full. And if the world keeps feeding this beast, it shouldn't act shocked when it bites again. Let's talk about the bomb in the room. The reason no one pushes Pakistan too hard, the reason terror camps are tolerated, the reason the world sends money, not missiles. Pakistan has nukes, and that has changed everything. Because behind every demand, every denial, every delay, there's an unspoken threat. If you push us too far, this country could collapse. And if it collapses, what happens to the nukes? And suddenly, everyone goes quiet. That's the real weapon, not the warheads. The fear of the warheads. This is the only country in the world where nuclear weapons are not fully under civilian control. They answer to the army, and the army answers to no one. No transparency, no accountability, no guarantees. And when the generals feel pressure, they raise the volume. Talk of tactical nukes, first-use doctrine, red lines, even leaks about moving warheads during tense periods. It's not diplomacy, it's nuclear blackmail. And the world folds every time. The US walks on eggshells. China keeps investing, Gulf states keep bailing out. The IMF keeps writing checks. No one wants Pakistan to fall, because if it falls, it might fall with a mushroom cloud. So what can be done? Let's be honest. You can't disarm Pakistan by force, but you can disarm its leverage. 1. Secure the chain of command. Global pressure must demand independent nuclear oversight, civilian control of nuclear decisions, real-time audits of warhead storage and movement, transparency in the command structure. No more military-only decisions in the dark. The nukes don't belong to the generals, they belong to the nation, and the world has a right to know they're safe. R2. Link nuclear safety to economic aid. Every future loan, bailout, or weapons deal must come with hard conditions. Submit to IAEA oversight. Publicly declare warhead inventory. End all covert transfers to proxy actors. Pakistan's nukes are not a free pass for state terror. They're a global liability, and the world needs to start treating them that way. 3. Expose the nuclear narrative. Stop playing dumb when Pakistan uses nukes to avoid accountability. Call it out, loudly. You're threatening nuclear chaos to protect terror financing? You want IMF money but won't open your warhead protocols? The illusion only works because no one challenges it. Break the illusion. R4. Regional response. Not just Western pressure. India, the Gulf, ASEAN, the African Union. It's time they stop outsourcing this conversation to Washington or Brussels. The threat isn't just to the West, it's to the entire region. If Pakistan collapses, millions flee. If a war breaks out, cities across Asia burn. If a warhead leaks to jihadists, it's not just South Asia's problem, it's the world's nightmare. Final truth? Pakistan's nukes are not a weapon of defense anymore. They've become a shield for extremism and a tool for extortion. The generals know this, and they've played it perfectly. They shelter terrorists, then ask the world for help to fight terrorism. They threaten collapse, then demand bailouts to prevent it. They build chaos, then offer to manage it. And they hold up the bomb like a get-out-of-jail-free card, every time. But here's the line that has to be drawn. Your nukes don't give you the right to burn the neighborhood. You want to be treated like a responsible power? Then act like one. Until then, the world isn't just dealing with a nuclear state. It's dealing with a nuclear-armed mafia, a cartel in uniform, running a hostage state, threatening the planet with the fallout. So here we are. One truth stands tall. Pakistan isn't a victim of terror. It's a manufacturer, an exporter, a dealer. And the state? It's not at war with militants. It's in business with them. The army wears the medals. The ISI writes the playbook. The militants pull the triggers, and the world picks up the bill. Every time a loan is signed, a madrasa is funded. Every time a crackdown is praised, another camp is reopened. Every time silence is bought, another Ajmal Kasab is trained. And the excuse? But they have nukes. Yes, they do. But nuclear weapons weren't meant to protect terror states. They weren't built so extortion could become foreign policy. They weren't designed to be a shield for lies, blood, and blackmail. Yet here we are, a hostage world, held at gunpoint by a rogue system wrapped in a flag. So what now? You stop paying the arsonist to act like a firefighter. You stop funding death with aid meant for life. You stop mistaking fear for diplomacy. And you draw the line. Because the world doesn't need more warnings. It doesn't need more evidence. It doesn't need another Peshawar, or another Mumbai, or another Pahalgam. What it needs is consequences. Until then, every dollar given, every silence kept, every hand shaken with Rawalpindi is blood shared. And the next time it bites, don't pretend you didn't see the teeth.